The 10 tricks I'm going to show you are the 10 things that I think are the most useful for making a really cool tank that are really easy. So you can do any of these. They don't take a whole lot of skill. It's pretty much just knowing where the button is and what it does, and then you can carve out better chunks to your tank. This is the tank that I have so far, and probably by the time you see this video, the tank will be a little bit farther along. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to click on an object here, and then I'm going to right click to open up the quad menu, and I'm going to say isolate selection. And what you end up with is this big button. This isn't the trick, by the way. I'm just setting up the scene. And what I've got here is the body of the tank, which is all one object. And you can see if I turn off isolation mode, it goes back. And here's my tank. Here, we'll just go back to you deserve perspective. There we go. And there's my tank. And you can see when I right-click on it, I can isolate that chunk. As long as this big button is here, then I'm in isolate selection mode. Okay, what I'm going to do is go under Modify. You can see under Modify, you're going to see this throughout all these tutorials. I have an Edit Poly. I have a Symmetry modifier. When I turn off Symmetry, I only have half the tank. And under Edit Poly, I'll be going back down here, and you can see Show End Result is on. So if I go under Vertex and Show End Result, I'll be working on this orange side of the tank, and that's where all my changes will take place, and then they'll be mirrored over to the other side. So this is how your stack really should look. It's an easy way to work. Just remember to keep this button turned on, and everything will be fine. Okay, I'm going to zoom in here. And the first trick that I'm going to show you is called Connect. You've probably seen this in class, but you might have forgotten how it works. Let's say that this big section here, you can see that I've got these great big polygons here. But maybe I want more segments so that I can bevel something out, kind of like what I've done back here. All you need to do is select Edge and select the edges. On my home computer here, they'll be colored yellow. Can you see them there? If I go and change the color of my tank, you might be able to, there you go. You can probably see them a little bit clearer. They're right here. And what I'm going to do is then go down to Connect, and instead of hitting the big button here, I'm going to hit this little button under Settings, and you can see that it makes a new segment. The trick is you have to select the edges that are parallel to each other. Okay? So if I had picked these edges here, my new connect segments would be going across this way. Instead, I picked these, and it's going to connect all those segments. All right? And then I can add more segments here if I want. So you don't want to add more segments than you need, but let's say that I wanted that there. We'll say OK. And then I can select those segments and do whatever I want to do with them. Just make sure when you're selecting the segments that you only select the segments that you need the connection to. Alright, let's do it right here one more time just so you can see how it works. I want segments cutting across here, so I select this one, this one, this one, this one, and this one. All the ones that go across this way, not these here. And then we'll go to Connect, and you can see that it will cut through those segments to make new segments. Alright? So that's called Connect. I'm going to undo those because I don't really need those on my tank. But that's called Connect. And I'm going to exit isolation mode here. And it's a good little trick for creating geometry where you don't have geometry already. Okay? So that was Connect, a very easy one to use. Remember, Connect makes new segments. The next one is called Target Weld. And for this one, I think I'm going to use the same piece of tank. So I'm going to isolate that selection once again. I'm going to maximize my viewport in this case, so that I can really see the tank. Remember, when you're rotating around, to use the one with the yellow center. That'll rotate it around your selected object. Now, let me find a good chunk to connect. Let's just make a new chunk of tank here when we do this. Actually, I'll use this piece right up here. This will work a little better. Okay, so I'm going to go under Edit Poly again, Vertex, making sure that Show End Result is on. Without it, I only have half a tank. And I'm working on the orange section. That's the real section. The other side's a clone side because of symmetry. I'm going to be under Vertex for this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to select these two vertexes. And if you can't see them, they're red. I can zoom in here. You can see that there's a red one there and a red one there. And what I want to do is I want to move these vertexes over and weld them to these. Now it's very easy to do. I'm going to deselect those. We don't actually need to select them first. I just wanted to do that to show you where they're at. We go under Target Weld. It's right there. Highlight it. Then put your cursor over the vertex. It only highlights over vertexes, but over the vertex that you want to weld. Left click, and I'll get this little dotted line, and then put my cursor over the vertex I want to weld to, and let go. And you'll see that it will weld polygons together. So I could make this whole section one polygon, where before it was two polygons. Now there's a little bit better use for this, and it's really better used for cleaning up areas. You can see here, this edge here really doesn't need to be here. It's not serving any purpose. I have a polygon here, and one big polygon here. This vertex right here should be welded to this vertex. So I just go to Target Weld, left click on the vertex, dotted line, put it over where I want it to go, and click again. And now I've welded that area together, which makes for a nice clean line through here. Okay? It's also very useful for getting away from the boxy shape that a lot of your tanks will have by, if I go to bevel these pieces, so I'm just going to bevel these out so you can see what it will do. I'm going to bevel them out just a little bit. So here's what I have right now. See that beveled piece there? And what I can do is weld the top pieces, the vertexes together. Let me get this so you can see what I'm doing. Here we go. I'll go to Target Weld, and I'm just going to weld some of the vertexes back together. And you can get away from the boxy look that a lot of you get with these tanks. Whoops, not what I wanted to do. Welded the wrong one. By my computer's slowing down. There we go. And you can see that now we have this ledge here, but everything else is okay, and we've kind of gotten away from that boxy look. And then by grabbing just a single vertex here and moving it, I can end up with what's a very different looking shape to my tank just by target welding some things together. That's a little pushed in there. Let's pull it out a little bit more. Right about there. And you can see now my tank has this kind of razor trimmed edge there that wasn't there before, and just adds more interest to the area over what it was. Okay? So again, here's what it was if I go back through it, and you'll see it pop up here. There we go. As we weld it all together, there you go. And we end up with something like that. Okay? So that's called target weld, and it's under vertex, so it's right there. Okay? I'm going to exit isolation mode again. Zoom back in on our tank here. And I'm going to undo that piece I just did there, because I want this piece to fit. So get my tank back to what it was. The next one that I'll show you is called cut and slice. They're actually two different modifiers, but they work very similar, so we'll count them as one thing here. I'm going to once again right-click on this and isolate the selection. Zoom in here. And what cut and slice do is it cuts new segments in. It's very similar to connect, but connect kind of averaged out the distance between these edges that you would select. So if I go to polygon here, I'm going to deselect those. There we go. And what we're looking for down here is cut and slice plane. That's cut and slice, basically, right there. And how it works, cut's very easy. You just highlight it, click on it, left click on it, and you'll see that, see how the cursor changes as it goes over an edge? It's square here in the polygon, but as it goes over an edge, it kind of locks on. And what I can do is also, by the way, when it goes over a vertex, it turns into that tiny one. So I can go to the vertex, left click, and see how it's dragging out an edge. And then I can go to the next edge, click again, drag down to the next edge here, click again, and go back up to this edge, and then click again and go across to the next edge. And what I ended up with is I just cut this piece out of my what was pretty flat polygons, and so if I go to select them, you'll see that now I have a beveled piece here, or not a beveled piece, a separate piece here that could be, once again, beveled. And you can see that I can then bring it out, outline it down, and you could manipulate this if you wanted a separate piece there. Okay? So that's called cut. Let's look at that one more time. I'm going to undo this cut. There we go. And once again, cut right here. We'll cut right through here. You highlight on edges, vertices, and you can aim right at polygons, but it doesn't work as good. So I'm left clicking when I hit the edge, and you can see I can actually cut right into a polygon, but it doesn't work as well when you do that. So it works better if you go from edge to edge to edge to edge. And now I have this piece cut in. So that's cut. The only warning with cut is don't get too carried away with it. Use connect when you can. Connect is pretty foolproof and will always work. Cut sometimes will cause rendering errors because you're really getting some strange polygon shapes with it. So just be careful with it. I'm going to turn off cut and we'll talk about slice plane. Now slice plane works similar to cut. I'm going to hit slice plane here. And you can see that slice plane creates this big yellow gizmo. That's right. You'll see it move there. See it moving? And slice plane works off of selected polygons. So if I want this polygon group here to have a cut right down the middle of it, and I want it to be straight, I hit slice plane. The cut's right there. Can you see it if I move it? Can you see it moving up and down? You might not be able to on the video, but there's a little line going right through here that the slice plane is creating. And so if I was to hit now slice, you have to hit slice to make it take effect, and then turn all these off. You can see I've got this new cut going through there. What I really want to do, I'm going to hit slice plane again, is rotate that gizmo. So I'm hitting rotate, and now when I rotate it, can you see the line rotating through my tank? So if I wanted to line it up with this line here, I could move it. No, actually I'm pretty straight already. And then rotate it to match that line pretty closely. It's a bit of a curved surface. And then hit slice, and then turn off slice plane, and this group here is brand new. That was just created by the slice plane. See how it didn't cut anything else? It just cut this area. Slice plane's a really nice way to get straight lines cut into things. So remember slice plane, and then you have to hit slice to use it. Quick slice right below it works very similar, but I like to use the slice plane for it.